Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Margaret Pinard. You stumbled on my channel somehow. Welcome to Booktube. It's a delightful place to be. Why would you ever leave? Welcome to Kat from Kat's Novel Adventures, my lovely guest tonight. Kat, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your channel before we dive into the night's work?
Okay, well, I am Kat of Kat's Novel Adventures. And basically, my channel, the goal of my channel is to talk about all kinds of adventures. And the reason it's novel is that I like to read, I like to write, and I like to try new things. So that's where the novel comes in. So right now, really, I've been doing a lot of reading, more so than anything, and trying to get a handle on that because I just started my channel. I just released my first video in October 28th of 2022. Is that right? That's last year. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like I was just seeing Emma Bennett's newbie oldie tags, and she's just over a year. And I'm hearing, do you know the Fred Armisen skit in Portlandia? I think it's Portlandia where he says, "I'm just a baby, I can't do it." And I'm like, that's what I'm hearing from you guys right now. You newbies at like a year.
Yes.
Feel nice, yeah. Very, very fun. Well, welcome to my channel. For anyone who's here from Kat's channel and does not know me yet, I'm Margaret. I write historical fiction and fantasy. So there's some overlap with like the creepy side plots, but I'm gonna be probably blown away by all the stuff Kat goes into for our exercise, for our creative games. So yeah, she's got zombies in her little byline here for good reason. Tell us about your zombie Halloween thing. Have you always been like a fan of the horror genre or like the Halloween holiday?
Pretty much Halloween has always been my favorite holiday ever since I was a kid.
Why do you think
And
that is?
I don't know. I like being scared. I like things. I like unusual creatures and the magic, and I don't know, it's just different from your everyday life.
Okay.
And I say I like being scared. I wouldn't want to be scared like in real life, like I wouldn't want to live in a haunted house, but I'm thrilled to watch a movie or read a book about a haunted house, which is one of my favorite tropes in horror. But I love zombies, and I fell in love with zombies because of the Walking Dead TV show. That started in October, actually on October 31st, 2010. So they picked Halloween for their premiere. But ever since then, I just love zombies, not so much for the zombies, but more for like the people trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. And it wasn't until it wasn't until May of 2012 that I started celebrating Zombie Awareness Month, which is in May.
Okay.
It's for you to be aware of how to take care of yourself to survive a zombie apocalypse.
Okay, so alternately, I can call this Apocalypse Preparation Month because that's what I think is going to happen and how we're going to need to be prepared. So
exactly.
Okay, good. See, overlap. The other cool thing I just discovered, although you might have mentioned this earlier and it went off in my brain, but you mentioned multi-potentialite. And that is a word, a very specific word that was coined by Emily Wapnick, who I think lived or is from French Canada area, but she was in Portland for a while. And while she was in Portland, she put together this system about multi-potentialite living and this sort of like opening up to novel adventures, basically. And I was in her like original, not mastermind group, but like experimental tribe of people kind of doing things and met a bunch of cool people. So when I first got to Portland, so that's like an amazing connection. I'm
yes,
totally
it is.
read the book and identify with that system. It's very cool.
Yes, because there's not like I know that there are people out there that are multi-potentialites. They just haven't been labeled.
Right.
I think my youngest son, honestly, is a multi-potentialite because he has very similar qualities like me. And it's just basically you just have tons of interest in creative pursuits and you want to do it all.
Sound familiar? Anybody out there? I'm seeing some parallels. So Anita's here, AF Stewart. We have an Alicia in the house. I'm guessing she's a friend of yours. Nice to see you here. Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. Hello, hello. Kat's channel is great. Of course, of course.
Thank you.
Jennifer Brown. Hello, ladies and gents. Hello, Jennifer. Cool Gamer saying hello, everybody. Leslie saying greetings, lovely people. Don't forget to high five the like button. Thank you so much for that reminder. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Alan says zombie preparation month. So yeah, he's like putting our two things together. And you know who's all over zombie preparation would be Laura, another short story horror writer extraordinaire. So if you guys haven't connected, you should definitely.
Yes, we need to connect.
Sweet. Okay, so purpose of these fireside chats, in case you are new and just finding this, is to invite someone new and lovely on who I haven't had on before or who I'd like to have on more, and dig in their brain about creative outlets and do some creative games. So because Kat's background is theater, I'm like, I get in the candy store and she's going to explain what we're going to do for this first round of improv-y stuff. But before that, are there any other major creative outlets that you haven't talked about in this chat yet that you wanted to like ping in case people are like, oh, I have that one, or oh, matching flag, you know?
Well, I mean, besides my channel, I also write a blog. So I'm a blogger and a vlogger, I guess, at the same time. My blog is mostly about everyday adventures, and that's what it's called, the Cat Files. Find an adventure in everyday life.
Nice.
I also am an actor and have done some theater.
Awesome.
And I'm also an improviser. So I technically got into the improv to help me to be a better actor, especially with auditioning, because I'd always get super nervous before an audition. And one of the things that a casting director or director will ask you to do is to redo your audition in a different way. And if you've gone in planning just one way, then that's all you're going to give them. So you have to be flexible enough to change and give them what you want.
Right. Gotta roll with those punches.
Yes. And it also helped me not to be afraid. It also has helped me to be on my channel, because it's like you just have to get over the judgment.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I prefer to be live more so than actually filming a pre-recorded video. I know that sounds crazy.
Welcome to the club. Yay.
I just would rather be live because I feel like you have someone to talk to, even if it's just me by myself and talking to my friends in the chat. I just feel like there's connection.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about the camera. It's so intimidating because there's nobody there. I used to even tease my friend Kelsey of Slime and Slashers. I'm going to put a picture of you right above where I'm filming.
Above the little camera.
I'm talking to you because...
Hey, photographers do it to get kids to look at the right toy to get the smile, right? Just borrow from someone else's profession. I think that's totally valid. So you're not going to mention the large cutout behind you? I mean, if I had one, it would be a life-size Jamie Fraser, but you've got someone else. So tell us about that. Is that
this is Ant-Man back here, and he's not even at his full height. His poor little ankles are bent because I don't have the piece that makes him stand all the way up. He would actually touch my ceiling. But I am a comic book nerd and love comic books. And of course, I collect Stephen King comic books as well as some horror comic books, X-Files, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Neil Gaiman, that kind of stuff. And we became friends with the comic book store peeps because my youngest son at the time played these games like Magic and Vanguard and HeroClix and all that. And they were going to get rid of Ant-Man. And one of the guys said, hey, you want Ant-Man? I'm like, sure, I'll take Ant-Man. Well, part of Ant-Man's been living in my closet because the top half of him has been living at Southeastern University's in the art department as part of a collage thing they had going with, because my Andrew was an art major with a concentration in art history. So we just brought him back recently. And I'm like, now he can be in my room with me and scare the neighbors.
All right. So we had a zombie themed question here from Martha
Yeah.
Jones. Self-righteousness. How do you feel about Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead style zombies, wherein zombies tend to reflect a nastiness in real living people?
Hmm.
Ooh. Thank you for the context since I have only seen one of those.
Yes, and it depends on which version of Dawn of the Dead you're talking about, whether it's Romero or Zack Snyder, too, because your zombies are a little bit different. I it to me a lot that has to do with zombies is social commentary. It's about what's going on with the people, and you really get to see what people are made of when they're put in that situation. The zombies are just like the background noise. It could be really any kind of apocalypse that's happening. It's just the zombies add a little more era, what is it? Atmosphere of terror to it, because not only do you have to fight the humans who are awful, but you also have to not get bitten so you don't turn into a zombie yourself.
Yeah, that reminds me of science fiction and fantasy worlds as well, because those genres are both about like a lot of scenery changing and world building, but essentially like people are being tested to the limit in circumstances that are a lot like the ones we have to. And so you can learn from them, just like your zombie example.
Yeah, I mean, it all falls back to good versus evil.
Yeah,
I mean, just changing the scenery a little bit, and it's also who wants to have the most power and what are they willing to do to get that power. And you also, when people, and in Maya Angelou that says, when people show you who they are, believe them, and that's what happens in situations like a zombie apocalypse or any other kind of apocalypse.
All right. So Alan is saying he's got a BA from Kent State in theater. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Martha was referring to Romero. So the discerning zombie fires in the room will understand that, and says the spirit of survival is valid. Alan concurs. Okay, I'm out of my depth here. This is my channel, but I have no idea what's being said. Anita says I just interviewed a couple of authors about zombies yesterday. Amazing. If you interviewed them yesterday, you probably don't have a link to the interview yet, but feel free to drop your channel or the series playlist if you have that too.
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to check that out. Especially since October. In October, we have International Zombie Day UK. So I will be doing something to celebrate. I believe it's October the 7th, whatever that Saturday is.
Is he doing a dance?
Like the Michael Jackson dance?
Thriller dance, yeah.
Yeah, it's the Thriller. So I'll probably be doing something mini for that. But yeah.
Zombies so Laura says my favorite zombie movie is still Train to Busan. So well done. Tugs at the heartstrings at the end. And Leslie agrees. Train to Busan is my jam. Never even I know where Busan is. It's in Korea, right? But never heard of the movie. Nice.
What I would say, Margaret, if you want to see a really intense zombie movie, Train to Busan is it. And they do make reference to it in that TV show, All of Us Are Dead, which to me is a fantastic zombie show with teenagers in a high school. So I don't know. It's very good. My favorite.
That sounds more like Deep Space Nine to me, which is like soap opera-esque and not my jam. Okay.
My favorite zombie movie, though, Margaret, is Shaun of the Dead. So.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of. I wasn't even thinking of Dawn of the Dead. I haven't seen Dawn of the Dead. Yes, Shaun of the Dead, the comic take on Dawn of the Dead. That's the one I've seen. Sorry, everybody. Sorry if you thought you didn't know me because I'd seen Dawn of the Dead. I haven't.
Shaun of the Dead is my favorite, and that has lots of social commentary in it, let's just say.
Nice. Okay. Anita says, yeah, the interview's not up yet. It's for her Crystal Lake series and their new anthology, Dark Tide 10. Should be up later this month. Awesome. Okay, so Crystal Lake is a publishing imprint. So I think if you follow Anita A.F. Stewart, you'll be able to see her Crystal Lake interviews either on her channel or on theirs. So very cool.
Okay. That's cool.
Have you seen One Cut of the Dead? I got to see it at a screening here in Toronto. It's a zombie movie done all in one take.
Yes, I just watched it this year. I just watched it this year for Zombie Awareness Month in May,
Oh my
and it
gosh.
is hilarious. It's so well done because there's so many twists and turns, and I was very surprised by it. So people had told me they recommended it for me to watch, and I'm like, yeah. So I would recommend it to people to watch. It's a comedy horror.
All right. So now that we've gotten to know what you're somewhat about, which there's many facets, but let's jump into our first round. And I'm going to give us 15 minutes on the clock so we don't get too carried away. But give us some basic instructions, and then we could start a verbal storytelling round of.
Okay, so do you want to do a little warm up really quickly? 7 things? No, just to get your brain going. No, you don't think you could free fly with 7 things, Margaret?
My brain's already whirling on 7 levels, Kat. Like,
okay, well, if not, then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to create a story just from our brains. Our pockets are empty. And it's what long form improv is all about. That's what I studied, was long form improv, where you don't really have you don't bring anything with you. It just comes right out your brain. And Margaret and I have to listen to each other and create a story that makes sense, that has characters, plot, and a setting. And pretty much you want to start off with the who, the what, the when, the where, and then try to heighten it if you can, or you can de-heighten it, make a pattern, and usually 3 is the magic number. And then whatever that last thing is your button, is the end of the scene. Okay. So who, what, when, where, and then whatever the thing is. So back and forth for a few minutes.
Okay, and I'm going to push us here. I discovered I tried to make a short from this and realized that you can't get 2 people side by side in a vertical short. So we're going to try this format and see if it works. So would you like me to start, or do you want to start?
You start, Margaret.
Okay. I was walking down the street in Portland when I overheard 2 women talking about their lunch the day before.
Why, Sarah, why would you be so interested in what they were having for lunch when you were about to rob them of their socks?
Well, I was interested in what they were talking about because the quality of the socks would be affected by the place and the tenor of the restaurant they had visited.
Good point. However, would you have preferred their socks if they ate sushi or pig's feet?
Valid question. I would go with pig's feet because that indicates a culture that is appreciative of much greater variety of input sources. So I bet the socks would be remarkably well engineered and made from the latest breakthrough in materials. Was I right?
You were right. And that's our button right there. That's the end of the story.
Okay. I was thrown when you said Sarah and you were directing it to me because I thought we were going to be telling the story as a story.
Well, you used I, so I guess I was thinking more conversation.
Okay.
So that's okay. I mean,
okay.
It's improv. We can.
I rolled with it.
You did. You didn't look like a deer in the headlights.
I bet I did. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So we have time to do another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you want to start with this one?
Sure. And I love fairy tales.
Okay.
Once upon a time, a grotesque frog hopped into a hole in the middle of a cave.
This grotesque frog had no plans to become the first freediver of its kind, but its inherited traumas had prepared it for exactly this role.
So he shimmied deeper into the hole in search of his mission in life to find the elixir that would turn him into a prince.
And this grotesque frog was very sure he knew exactly where to find this elixir. He'd listened to his ancestors or antecedents talk about the legend, and he swam and held his breath. Nope, he's an amphibian. He didn't have to hold his breath. He swam to the place where they had mentioned, which he would recognize by the slanted column of sunlight that would reach this deep, dark place in the cave.
And as he approached the light, his body started changing. And at first, he sprouted legs, and then he sprouted arms, and he was able to rise into the light.
It was a moment worthy of the best Disney visual effects. He whirled in a circle, and as he looked down at his appearing legs and arms, he realized that he was also sprouting gold-spangled clothing. So he knew he was on his way to being the prince just from being in the sunlight at the bottom of this deep cave without any elixir at all.
Very good. Yay.
He's gonna drown. That was gonna be my... Okay, that was cool.
Oh.
You guys just wrote a kid's book, so I like it. A grotesque friend. Steal those socks. Zombieland. Still haven't seen it.
Oh, the sequel's awesome. You should watch it.
And then Laura's also saying maybe Margaret should watch Warm Bodies.
It's a love story. It's a zombie love story.
Okay. Is there cannibalism in it? Because I feel like half the thing.
No, not that I remember, but Warm Bodies is actually based on a book series. Just saying.
Yeah,
well, that's pretty good too.
Yeah. There's been a rash of cannibalism themed horror novels, and so
I try to stay away from those.
Yeah, they're not my jam. They're up the horror alley that I don't venture up.
Right.
And Alicia's talking about you guys just wrote a kid's book. I wonder what Ellen thinks, because Ellen's going to be on the show later and she is writing a kid's book. So maybe we should talk to her. All right. We probably have time for one more, maybe two. Alan says I'm ready for theater questions. I'm not sure if he wants to ask theater questions or what, but feel free to pop them in the live chat and we can talk about it afterwards.
Okay, well, how would you feel about doing creating a character? So if I give you just a random, vague initiation, you would create a character with your who, what, where, and when.
So am I basically taking the assumption that you're throwing my way and like running with it and giving you more? But then where does
this is called samurai, and all it is that I endow you with just a vague initiation. Like you could do it to me first, so I can show you what it's about. And a vague initiation could be like howdy, what's up, you know, you look great, whatever it is, you know, positive, negative, whatever. And I am to embody a character and give you my where and when and some information about myself.
So create like a little monologue.
Yes, pretty much. Like it's just it's to learn how to create a character for when you do an improv scene with someone.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dude,
Ed, where have you been all my life? I have basically been driving around this parking lot for like 6 hours trying to get a date for the winter formal.
what an interesting choice. I like it. Okay.
Okay. So you ready?
Yes.
So you just want to try to, you know, give us some information about you. Where are you? When? What? Whatever. Who are you? Okay.
Specificity.
Mm-hmm. You are late yet again.
But Mrs. Fisher, I can totally explain. I was on my way out the door, but then like I tripped over the dog and then I ate it on the sidewalk and then I had to go back in and like wash out my knees and then put band-aids on and then like my carpool was yelling at me from the street and then I had to shut the dog back in the house and run out. And I know this is a really important day for school, but like I'm already gonna look terrible for the pictures. So like this was the best I could do.
Yay! Very good.
That's good.
You were very specific too. So that's very good. Because what happens with improv is you're going to come into a scene and one of us would have to start a scene. Mm-hmm. One of us. And depending on whatever I would start off with, I'm endowing you. So if you come in thinking I'm going to be a cowgirl and I come in and I say, Mom, why did you mess up my peanut butter and jelly sandwich for the 3rd time this week? Well, you can't be the cowgirl because you're my mom. And so you have to switch gears and be like, unless you were saying, well, I'm sorry, I've been practicing my cowgirl routine, you know, so that's why they say go into a scene.
Yeah, breaking people
go into a scene with empty pockets, because what'll happen is you want to yes and. You don't want to shut something down. You never want to say no, or that's not the case, or whatever. You just go with it.
Right.
Even if it turns out to be ridiculous.
Dude. And Ellen says no zombies in my ever yet, just lizards. We like that. Okay. Do you want me to give you one more?
Sure, if you want to.
Let's see. Okay. Doctor, we've run out of PPE, but you're still going to have to do the surgery.
What the heck are you talking about? I ordered those PPEs like weeks ago. I am so sad that we have incompetent people in our hospital. As it is, we only have 3 staff members. And now you're telling me I don't have the PPE? Okay, this is what we're going to do. You better give me my gloves. You better give me something that looks pretty close. And we're going to go in, but don't you dare tell the family.
That's good. Oh my gosh. And you went with an accent.
Yes. I love characters. I love creating characters. I would do character skits and write character skits if I could. So SNL was like one of my favorite things.
Nice. Oh, okay. Do you want to give me one last one and I'll
give you one last one.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. I'm thinking. Ma'am, you were going too fast around that curve.
Excuse me. Have you seen what I have to deal with around here? First of all, you have my pronouns wrong. And second of all, I was going exactly the speed limit. I can tell because my speedometer right here is correct, and that is none of your business. So yes, I knew how fast I was going. It is exactly the right speed, sir.
So if we wanted to go back and forth after that, that's like developing your character. So basically what would happen is once you got to the point that you put me in my place, then I, as the police officer or the hall monitor or whoever I was going to be at that moment, depending on what you decided you were going to be, then we would go back and forth with the scene, just listening until we hit that button, where it would be the scene would end right there.
Nice.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I am not familiar with the term "hit the button." So,
that's the button is the part that you're, that sweet spot where that's when you can end your scene right there.
And scene, as
yes,
Jack would say in Will and Grace, right? Oh, that's good. That's good. So okay, so let me pop us out here so we look more conversational again. Hey friends, hey Barrett, how you doing? And Ellen, what is that supposed to be? Zombie improv?
Zombie improv.
No, I like it though. Okay, so you mentioned a review or a blog post maybe for the other thing that you wanted to work on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about the blog or what you were reading or what you're going to be done.
Well, I am actually reading 2 books right now. I'm reading Fairy Tale for Big Book Summer, and also
that Fairy Tale.
Yes, Fairy Tale by Stephen King. I'm reading this for Big Book Summer and also for Summer Book Bingo, because it is my fantasy, my standalone fantasy, and then it counts for Big Book Summer because it's 400 plus pages. And then I'm actually slogging through Nightstone by Rick Hartala. And the only reason I didn't DNF it, this 592 page book, is because one, it is counting for my Paperbacks from Hell theme for Garb August.
Yeah.
It was this or vintage smut, and I'm not going to do the vintage smut. And it also is going to count for Big Book Summer because it's over 400 pages. And it's also going to give me my over 500 pages square on my Summer Book Bingo. So that is why I am sticking with it. And I'm on page 457, but nothing is happening very much. And there's a lot of wasted stuff going on. So I figured I can either read or I can work on my blog post of what I read in July, because I'm a little bit behind on that. But
you sound like you're stuck in a swamp with that book. This is the book I just finished. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Fens, bogs, and swamps, and like lots of nerdy science language, which I tweeted out some interesting details from that are unexplained and without context.
And is this for research? Are you reading it for research?
I started it on International Bog Day, which was July 22nd. And it's just like awareness about peatlands and wetlands and ecosystems and stuff like that. So spoiler, I expected more from an Annie Proulx book, and it's kind of confused and repetitive. And there's some good stuff in there, but it's also like not very engaging. It kind of lets you go. It heightens and de-heightens. It doesn't have like a
it's not patterning. Yeah, it's not patterning.
Yes. So okay, so let's see. Yeah, Will and Grace and Barrett's calling me out saying we're showing our age there. Hey, I still get little clips of Will and Grace on YouTube and watch them, and I've never seen them before, so I'm still enjoying them. Hamilton Thompson's saying, good evening, ladies. Hello.
Hello.
Are there no zombies in improv?
Oh.
I think there are. Just
you could do zombies in improv. Right. It'd be interesting to have 2 zombies having a conversation about, their day, but
all the zombies I've seen, which are very few, represented in movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the conversation. I don't know that I'd be able to get much from that.
Right.
Yes, and So Jordan
Oh.
stepped in. How are you doing tonight beside the fire chat? I'm doing excellent. We just finished our first high energy aerobic part of the segment. And now we're going to transition into a second round of like quiet reading again with the fire on. And yeah, so you're going to be working on a blog post and I'm going to be shimmying up my list of reviews. I've had book reviews with 2 people so far and I've got 20 done. So I might just have 10 left and then I could be caught up. That'd be amazing.
I know. Well, this will be the next one I have to do a review on when I finish it. And I can guarantee you, I'm going to try to be nice, but I'm also going to have to warn people if they decide they want to read this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think many people would be taking a chance based on the cover anyway, but.
Well, and let me tell you something. The cover is misleading.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with the story, which disappoints me. And also the tagline is "The old house in Maine was a haven for evil." Well, that's the lamest evil I've ever seen in my life or read about in my life.
Okay.
I'm like, come on.
All right.
Lame evil.
Well, Hamilton responding to your comment saying vintage smut getting a bad rap. And then Martha coming up in defense of the smut. A lot of it is mercifully short. And hers are definitely short. So, there you go. If you want a short, smutty short story, then you should go.
Well, they did have a little bit of steaminess in there here too, but
really,
it was kind of gross in context. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. The improv is fun. You should make that a thing. Okay.
Well, actually, I've thought about doing some improv stuff on my channel with some of my improv friends.
Yeah.
And we just haven't gotten to that point yet because of people's schedules. But I'd like to have that as part of my channel to, first of all, educate people about improv because a lot of people think it's like, whose line is it anyway? Or whatever, more so like that. Or some people also think it's SNL, which is more like skits, and people are writing for that, kind of thing. And so improv is all you have to make it up as you go kind of thing. So it's just I haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm kind of stuck in the Booktube realm right now.
All right. Okay, so let me get my timer ready. 38 plus 15, 53. So we'll have a few minutes left to chat at the end, and we'll probably go over because I want to ask you all the things. We'll into this other layout with the fire, and then put you on top, so you get a chance not to be covered by the scrollers. Okay, so for this portion, I'll mute myself so that you don't hear my weird concentration sounds, and we'll see you.
Let me mute myself.
Okay. Happy writing. it's time. So we had a Shannon come in and tell us what she was up to. Hi. How did you do?
I did pretty well. I am taking notes, real quick notes, because I have found that because I'm reading so much per month, that my blog posts for my reading wrap-ups are just way too long. I mean, people aren't going to want to read it that long. So if I'm doing multiple events in a month, I'd rather just go ahead and write about that event and then, embed my video in there if they want to take a look at my YouTube video that I made for that particular wrap up. And then I do a separate, what I read for the entire month. And I might mention the event and then a link to it if they want to go back and read that post, kind of thing. So that's what I've been doing with that. And I'm kind of thinking for next year that when I first started, this is only my second year that I've been writing about my books, but since I've started my channel, I'm reading more books per month. And I find it takes up a lot of my time, and that's not what I always want to write about on my blog. It's like I'm already doing it for my channel. So I don't want to I feel like I'm writing reviews for Goodreads, then I'm kind of writing a review again for the blog, and then I'm talking about it on the channel. And
right. Same. Which can be a godsend for people who are like, I don't know what to write about. But if you've got multiple things going, you're like, well, what if I did this for this lane and that for that lane?
Yeah, so I've decided that I'm going to finish out the year because I like to complete things. I don't like to leave something, and we're getting close to the end of the year anyway.
Don't say that.
No. I'm just going to change
August.
No, I'm sorry, but I mean, when I look at my list of 23 things that I'm supposed to be getting to, oh my goodness, I have not ticked off as many as I should have by this point. I just know in my mind that I'm going to change how I'm going to handle my books on my blog, kind of thing. People can find me in those other two places and they can see what I've read, but I want to get back to writing about the other things going on in my life, so.
Yeah. So Jordan had an interesting question. Hey, Cat's Novel Adventures, have you written any fiction? Because I love reading fiction.
I have not really, except for when I had to write it for my classes in college or high school, grammar school, that kind of thing. I think if I'm going to write a book just based on what I write about on my blog, I will probably write more nonfiction, something about a piece of my life, something more inspirational. I've kind of thought about being, what do you call it? A person who's kind of late to the game, a late bloomer, I guess, kind of thing. I've thought about doing something like that and kind of maybe documenting my journey on trying different things later in life because I put everything off for my family and my children and all of that kind of stuff. Right. So I don't know. I've never really, except for when I try to, make up stories just on the fly.
Verbal storytelling improv earlier this hour.
I wouldn't mind doing like little skits or something like that. And the school that I took my improv classes, Anubis Improv in Metairie, they have talked about potentially doing a skit writing course. And if they do that, I will register for that.
Nice. I love that. We've got plans. And just because Jordan gave me the introduction or the segue, I do have books out. So in case you don't know and you haven't been slammed with this yet, where to find my books? I've got 6 books for purchase. And for the visually impaired, bit.ly/shop_Margaret. So that's what I'm showing on the screen there. For anyone who's into historical fiction or fantasy, I've got both in like half and half of those books. All right. So winding up here as we get close to the hour, I was going to ask you about one other thing. What was it? Oh, I didn't report out what I did. So I got through I got through 4 reviews, and 1 I discovered I already had left. So 5 off my list, and I'm almost caught up, which is exciting. When I do reviews, basically I'm punching to the strengths that I remember. So when you were saying you write down notes because you're not sure like which you want to direct to which platform, I don't jot down notes. I do the sacrilege of like turning down corners if it's actually my book. But when I'm going through this month and actually catching up on like several months worth of books, I'm like, what do I remember about this book? And the like good point
Mhm.
to me as well as the bad, but I just don't mention those. I just, give this.
Well, I don't say anything really bad negatively. I will say what appealed to me and what did not appeal to me based
Right.
on my preferences.
Yeah.
So that way it's not, I don't want anybody to, like someone else might enjoy that it took him 592 pages to write something that could have been done in 200. But
Yeah.
my point is, I always start with the positive. I
Right.
create the sandwich kind
Yep.
of thing. But I wanted to know, do you always give a little synopsis of what the book is about and then go into your feelings? No.
No, because when I am posting on, I put the link up here on Storygraph. So I don't use Goodreads anymore. It's just sort of frozen in time in 2021, maybe. I switched over to the Storygraph, and they have like the information about the book there on the page. So if people want the back cover copy, they can look it up. And then if they want to look at reviews for other types of opinions, they can look at reviews. It's not, I don't want to repeat the work of the, the
Well,
software.
right.
Yeah. So what I basically come in with is my first impressions, the high points that I thought were really strong, what I maybe thought about before or would have liked to see more of, and then like final impressions kind of thing, like your 2-word, whatever pull quote you want to use. But yeah, I'm Margaret Pennard on the Storygraph. If you want to be buddies over there and just see what I'm reading before it comes out on Booktube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't crossed that threshold. I'm stuck on Goodreads.
Well, our good friend Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads just posted a video about ranting about Goodreads and why he's leaving the platform finally. They kept deleting his audiobooks, and he's like, what in the devil? So
That's
yeah,
awful.
he finally, like, after twice and having to re-put them on, he's like, why am I doing this to myself? I just go somewhere else.
Like, forget this.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see where he goes to, because like Storygraph is where it's at, I think. Yeah, and Shannon is just getting off to go ahead to see a movie with friends. Well, that's awesome. But she says she'll leave this up for watch time. Yeah, and Alicia says, I'll check out your books, Margaret. Thank you. No, are you saying that your books are for someone visually impaired? No, I was voicing what was on the screen, which was my book covers and the link to check them out. So if you want accessibility add-ons, I think you would probably rely on your apps or your computer system to provide those for you with the ebook or ebook version, I would think. Let's see. Last. All right, ladies. Catch you later. Thanks for stopping in. All right. So I've got a thank you banner here, which I have been forgetting to put up. So put that up. Oh, and we had a word.
Yes.
The word. What's your favorite word? So just to set the scene, I'm doing a secret giveaway. Only people who watch are notified. You get an entry if you leave a comment after the stream is over down below that says either Kat's favorite word or mine. So Kat, go ahead. What's yours?
My favorite word is bibliophile.
Yay!
I love the word bibliophile.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Lover of books.
And it's in Greg's channel title. So like I already said it, but we didn't know. Fun. And mine is still leguminous because I'm spreading the leguminous Bible. So yay. It's making vegetables luminous. What can I say?
I know.
So let us know, do you have a secondary platform? besides the YouTube Cats and Novel Adventures, where we can find you? You said you have a book blog, so what's the URL? And then Instagram.
Oh, I mean, it's catloyacano.com.
Okay.
That is, yes, catloyacano.com is my URL for that. And then I do have Instagram, which I think I'm Catherine Loyacano on that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I just put it up there. Woo woo. And do you know Jeremy Fee?
No, I do not.
Definitely check out Jeremy Fee's channel because one, he's been put into horror anthologies for Booktube, AuthorTube. He's made his own for sci-fi, but also I think he's from Louisiana and now lives in Texas. So you guys might have like horror Louisiana stories to bond over. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. So
yes, that would be awesome.
Yeah. And Ellen says, around July 4, my mom would regularly announce the summer's over. Oh, she must be catching up to the comment about
well, she must be a teacher because generally when I taught, I took June off unless we were asked to go to some kind of PD, which generally we did not. So in June, I tried not to think about anything to do with school.
Yeah.
And when July 4th hit, it was like my summer was over because I had to start getting into school mode because generally we started having meetings, like team grade level meetings, like that first, the last week of July, because school starts usually the first or second week of August here. So yeah, she must be a teacher.
It's so strange how things vary in school districts or like different experiences. Cause I feel like I talk to people and my memory could be faulty too, but getting out of school is like June 13th ish. And then going back to school is the last weekend in August.
Yeah, it's really odd because we went to school late, me growing up towards the end of August or maybe even after Labor Day. And then we got out at like the end of May, generally around Memorial Day. And even when I started teaching, the year that I had Andrew, I want to say I didn't have to go back to school until like August the 21st or something like that. And I mean, of course, that was 22 years ago when he was born, but it's just weird how it's just every year it gets,
it's
closer
weird.
and closer.
Yeah, it's strange time.
And it's so hot here that you're just like, ugh. Like to have to do carpool in the heat is miserable.
We'll work that into our next improv because I was going for the carpool. I could have worked in the heat. That's a good detail. Well, thank you so much for coming on today's Fireside Chat. We're going to be continuing. We're almost halfway. So all August, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, I'm hosting a new creative guest on my channel to introduce the audiences, like get some creative cross currents going, and also get some work done because this is how I bribe myself without the chocolate. So Kat, thank you so much, Kat.
Thank you so much for having me on this. I have been so excited about this. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So thanks to everyone for watching. Make sure to leave a comment after the stream is over to win a bookish package, which is at least a $50 gift certificate here in the States. And if you're elsewhere, I'll do an equivalent something or other. So it'll depend on who it is, because then I can craft a perfect little package. You'll see. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you again soon.